In a small, forgotten village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived an old woman named Elara. She was known as the Keeper of Whispers, a title earned through her deep understanding of the ancient art of jar spells. The villagers would come to her with their troubles, and she would craft spells in jars to help them. But Elara's jars were not just containers of magic. They were vessels of intention, emotion, and the power of the human spirit. One day, a young girl named Lila came to Elara's cottage, her eyes filled with tears. Lila's family was struggling. Her father had fallen ill, her mother was overwhelmed with work, and their crops had failed. Lila had heard whispers of Elara's jar spells and hoped they could bring her family some relief. Elara welcomed Lila with a warm smile and listened to her story. When Lila finished, Elara nodded thoughtfully and said, "A jar spell is not just about magic, child. It is about focusing your intentions, your hopes, and your energy into something tangible. The jar becomes a mirror of your heart." Elara led Lila to a small table where an array of jars, herbs, crystals, and other mysterious items were laid out. She handed Lila an empty jar and said, "This jar will hold your spell, but first, you must decide what you wish to achieve. Do you seek healing for your father, prosperity for your family, peace for your mother's heart?" Lila thought for a moment and replied, "I want my family to be happy and healthy again." Elara smiled. "A noble intention. Now, let us begin." Cleansing the jar. Elara lit a bundle of sage and passed the jar through the smoke. "This cleanses the jar of any lingering energies, making it a pure vessel for your spell," she explained. Choosing the ingredients. Elara guided Lila in selecting ingredients that aligned with her intention. They added rosemary for healing and protection, cinnamon for prosperity and energy, rose quartz for love and emotional healing, a small piece of paper on which Lila wrote her family's names and her wish for their happiness. Charging the spell. Elara placed her hands over the jar and closed her eyes. "Now, focus on your intention. Imagine your family healthy, happy, and thriving. Pour that energy into the jar." Lila closed her eyes and concentrated, feeling a warmth spread through her. As she visualized her family's joy, she opened her eyes to see Elara smiling. Sealing the jar. Elara sealed the jar with a cork and tied a piece of red string around it. "The red string symbolizes the bond of your family and the strength of your intention," she said, activating the spell. Elara handed the jar to Lila. "Place this jar in a special spot in your home. Every time you see it, remind yourself of your intention. The spell is alive as long as your heart believes in it." Lila took the jar home and placed it on the windowsill where the sunlight could touch it. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, things began to change. Her father's health improved, her mother found moments of peace, and their crops began to flourish. Lila knew it wasn't just the jar spell, it was the hope and love she had poured into it that had made the difference. Word of Lila's jar spread through the village, and soon, more people came to Elara seeking her guidance. Elara taught them that jar spells were not about controlling the world but about aligning their hearts with their desires. The jars were simply tools to focus their energy and intentions. And so, the village thrived, not because of magic, but because of the power of hope, love, and the belief that even in the darkest times, a little light could guide them forward.